Fox News. Now, I don't think I have to make the argument about how Fox News is a dishonest, lying organization. I mean, I think that's fairly well known at this point, and if you want to remain completely uninformed, Fox News would be the best choice for watching television. Now, being a Canadian, I don't actually get Fox News. However, I did manage to catch a website online where you can watch for free. So I saw America Reports with John Roberts and Sandra Smith. Now, they had a piece there about the current shortage of airline pilots in the United States, and this was causing massive delays and then causing, consumer anger, etc. So while discussing this, they naturally quoted Pete Buttigieg, the current Department of Transportation head. Now, they specifically talked about one particular aspect, or one particular plan to deal with the shortage, and that is raise the retirement age, the mandatory retirement age of pilots from 65 to 67.
Okay. Well, some people believe that it's a safety issue, including the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, who said this. Listen here.
I'm not going to be on board with anything that could compromise safety. The answer is to make sure that we have as many and as good pilots ready to take their place, to have a stronger pipeline.
Strengthening the pipeline, though, is a process that's going to take years. I mean, just looking strictly at the safety issue, not the schedule issue, is there a big difference between having a pilot who's 65 years old flying a plane versus 67? I mean, people are living longer, they're living better, they're much more active than they used to be at that age.
Now, they quoted Buttigieg as saying that he thought it would be a bad idea to raise that, citing safety concerns and that it could be very dangerous. And then, of course, the Fox News commentators repeated to essentially say Pete Buttigieg hates old people because people are living longer these days. They're living higher quality of life. They're being more active into their older age, which kind of isn't true. But let's just say for the argument that it is. And see, the problem here is that that's not exactly what Pete Buttigieg said. Here's what he actually said.
I'm told Senator Lindsey Graham is talking with colleagues about potentially raising that retirement age for commercial pilots to 67. Would you support that?
Well, look, these retirement ages are there for a reason, and the reason is safety. I'm not going to be on board with anything that could compromise safety. Now, what's clearly the case is we need to cultivate, train, and support a new generation of qualified pilots. Matter of fact, just last week, I was out with some programs that are helping to cultivate that interest in students and support them as they get their hours and get those qualifications. The answer is not to keep the baby boomer generation in the cockpit indefinitely. The answer is to make sure that we have as many and as good pilots ready to take their place, to have a stronger pipeline. We're backing that up with FAA programs that support high school and college curriculum to get into aviation. And of course, ultimately, it'll be for the airlines and those employers to hire and retain excellent talent. And, this is an issue we're seeing across the aviation sector, across the transportation sector at large, the importance of having competitive pay, great job quality, so that we can bring in and keep the people that are going to be needed to power America's transportation sector.
As you can see, it's a little bit different from the way Fox News actually portrayed it. What he was talking about was that there is a certain age at which there is cognitive decline, and believe it or not, it is around 65, which is why 65 was chosen. Now, of course, you can be completely sharp into your 70s, but you don't know each individual. Like how the drinking age is a particular age when somebody could be more responsible younger or completely irresponsible at twice the age. You just have to draw the line somewhere. What they're not talking about is the fact that there is a shortage. Oh, we should be able to raise the mandatory retirement age by 2 years. That way we can have more pilots. Or you can do, as Pete Buttigieg suggested, is that actually get younger people into the industry to replace the retiring boomers. That's the problem. There aren't enough people going into the industry in order to be able to make up the lack when people retire to fill those places. And that's the issue. And that's largely because airline pilots have been paid complete garbage. As you recall, Sully, the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson River, had testified that low wages, low safety is what kept people from going into the airline industry. And then those who went in, the pilots, had to take on extra hours just to be able to get by.
It is my personal experience that my decision to remain in the profession I love has come at a great financial cost to me and to my family. My pay has been cut 40%. My pension, like most airline pensions, has been terminated and replaced by a PBGC guarantee worth only pennies on the dollar. Members, I attempt to speak accurately and plainly, so please do not think I exaggerate when I say that I do not know a single professional airline pilot who wants his or her children to follow in their footsteps. I am worried that the airline piloting profession will not be able to continue to attract the best and the brightest. The current experience and skills of our country's professional airline pilots come from investments made years ago when we were able to attract the ambitious, talented people who now frequently seek professional careers elsewhere. That past investment was an indispensable element in our commercial aviation infrastructure, vital to safe air travel and our country's economy and security. If we do not sufficiently value the airline piloting profession and future pilots are less experienced and less skilled, it logically follows that we will see negative consequences to the flying public and to our country.
So, what happened is people stopped going to be pilots because it wasn't paying anything. Particularly with something with such a high skill and high importance when it comes to safety. So now there's a shortage of people because they didn't want to pay anything. So the wages now went up because there's a shortage. Now there's not enough people, period, coming in to fill those spots. So you see the problem here. It's not the retirement age. It has very little, if nothing, to do with what Buttigieg was actually saying, but the fact that there were such low wages that people didn't go into it. And then there is another issue on top of it, which is the larger context at which Buttigieg was actually talking about. And that is the desire by airline industries to lower the qualifications for people to become airline pilots, which would tremendously be a safety issue. So really, what the airline industry is really complaining about is that they don't have enough pilots and it's keeping the wages too high, because we have seen very specifically what they will do to keep those wages low. And that's really what this is about. And that is just a brief example of how Fox News will lie in favor of big business in order to attack people who work a living wage. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.